If you watched a previous lesson called Using Motion Presets, then you know that you can put clips in motion. You can have them zoom in a little bit, or pan, or rotate a bit. Those all happen in full screen mode. You don't see them, let's say, as a picture in a picture. But Photoshop has a feature that gives you much more control over those transform properties. And you control those transform properties, scale, rotation, and position, using what are called keyframes. So for example, you can have an image grow from nothing to fit on the screen in a picture, or slide one on screen, or rotate one on the screen. I'm going to show you all three methods in this lesson. So to follow along, go to Working Files, open up Photoshop PSD files, and then open up 0701 Transform. What we have here is a little video clip of a young lady walking through a garden here. There we go. And then I've got a still image over here, and a couple video clips here of flowers. I want to put all of those clips, the still image and the two video clips, here in the image someplace. I want to put one here, and then put one over here after she walks off camera. This one will scale up from nothing to about there. This one will slide on over here, and this one will rotate. We do that using keyframes. So first of all, I want to set things up so that this will work well. To have those guys appear on top of this clip, we need to put them above this clip here inside the timeline. So to do that, I just drag them up above the video group 1 here in the layers panel. So for example, this one here is a still image. I take still image 5 and drag it above the layer group there. That's going to automatically create this new track here, that new layer there. Take flowers 5, put it above as well, like that. Flowers 3 between the two. Doesn't have to be between the two, but it's just the way I want to do it in terms of the order of things. What I want to do here is I want to have this clip last a little bit longer when she goes off screen there, off camera at the end, like that. I want that to last just a little bit longer so I can hold this one on just a little bit longer. So I'm going to split the clip down here. Click on that to make it active and split it. Then I'm going to make this split portion over here on the right-hand side last longer. So I click this little flat there and change the speed to, we'll say, 50%. Click away. And now I can double the length of this thing now that I've slowed it down. So that's as far as I can go. I just doubled it out like that. I want the still image to last for the duration here as well. So I drag that to the beginning like so. Still images can last for as long as you want. So I just drag it out all the way to the end. There you go. I want this little video clip here, that one, to come on a little bit after the video starts and then last for the duration of this thing as well. So I'm going to drag that more or less to the beginning, like right about there. I want it to last for the duration, so I need to change its speed too. So I click this little guy and change its speed to, let's say, 25%. 25, there we go. Click away. I'm going to drag it out because it now can be 4 times longer. So we'll go as far as it can go, which is almost to the end. That's good enough. And the same thing for this guy. This guy will come on a little bit later. So we'll put him, let's say, right about there, although it might come on after that. Change its speed too. Click that out. Make this go up to 25% as well. There we go. Click away. Now I'll drag it out for as long as we need, which is right there. Okay, now things are all set up. I want to start with the still image first. So I want to turn off the visibility for these upper 2 layers here. I do that in the layers panel by just turning off the eyeballs there. Now we're working just on the still image above this flowers. And there's a flowers copy. That's this guy over there. All right, let's just go to the beginning. There we go. You can see the still image there of this purple flower group. So what I want to do here is I want to scale it down to have it fit nicely as a picture-in-picture. And then at the beginning of the clip, I want it to just appear from nothing and then get to that size. And I do that using keyframes. And the way this works is that you have to convert this to a smart object layer as you do with video clips. So in this case, you have to convert both of them to smart object layers. Sometimes you don't have to convert still images to do this kind of stuff. But for keyframing transform properties, you do. Let me show you where those properties are sort of tucked away here. If I click on this little disclosure triangle there or over here, I'm going to see 3 things: position, opacity, and style. So I can animate position, opacity, and style, but the position keyframe here is just the built-in motion presets over here. If I go over this thing and click on the motion presets, then I get keyframes for position here. We're not interested in position. We're interested in the transform property. We want to be able to do more than just change the position. We want to change its scale or rotation as well. So I need to switch this somehow from position to transform. And the way you do that is by converting it to a smart object layer. So I've got this guy selected over here. I just right-click over here in the layers panel and say, okay, convert that to a smart object. And now I'm going to open that thing up again, and you're going to see that it's no longer called position. Now it's called transform. That's the critical difference here. And the way that keyframes work, if you haven't worked with keyframes before, and probably most folks who are using video in Photoshop have not encountered keyframes, keyframes mark the beginning and the end of a change. And usually the way that you apply keyframes is that you get your thing set up where the ending position is, how you want it to finish, and you put a keyframe there. And then you go back in time and then set a keyframe for its starting point. So what I want to do is I want to shrink this guy down a little bit, scale it down. So do Control or Command T to turn on transform. I'm going to just drag it like this and hold down the Shift key to keep it constrained and the Alt key to keep it centered for the time being right there. Now I want to position it here someplace. That would be a logical place for it, let's say right about there. And that is the ending point. That's how I want it to end up when it comes on screen. So what I do now is I need to set a keyframe for that. I need to say this is the ending position. So I need to accept this first of all by pressing the Enter key on the numeric keypad. And now I want to put a keyframe there. So here we have transform, and I want to turn on keyframes. This little stopwatch is the enable keyframe animation switch. I turn that on, that adds a keyframe there, a little diamond that says this is where it's going to end up. Now I want to go before that in time. I want to go back here. I want it to start out at nothing. I want it to scale up from nothing. So at this point, I do Control Command T again. I'm going to shrink it down. Hold on the Alt key in Windows, the Option key in Mac, and the Shift key, and pull that guy down like so, right about there. And that will scale it up from nothing. Now I need to accept that by pressing the Enter key on the numeric keypad or clicking this little check mark there. That accepts it. And now when I play this, it's going to scale up like so. Is that not cool? Pretty cool. Now I want it to last for the duration of this clip, or most of the clip, let's say. Right about there, I'm thinking I'm going to start fading it out. So the trick here now is to put a keyframe there that marks that position again. This keyframe says properties here. It says the size of the scale and the position there. So if I click this little diamond here, the little diamond between these two triangles, that's going to create another keyframe right here where the playhead is. And that keyframe will equal the characteristics of this one in terms of the properties, in terms of how big it is and where it's located and that kind of stuff. So I click on the little diamond there, and that adds a keyframe. So that means that from this second keyframe here to the third keyframe there, nothing will change. It'll stay the same. And here I want it to shrink back down again to nothingness. So I do Control or Command T on it again. Now I'm going to hold on the Shift key and the Alt key in Windows and the Option key in Mac and shrink that guy back down like that. So it just disappears like so. So I need to accept that, press the Enter key and the numeric keypad, and here we go. Let's see how that looks. So when it finishes off, it's going to go from something to nothing, like so. Really cool. That's that guy. Let's close this guy down. Let's go back to this one here, the flowers 3. Turn on its little visibility over here. Click on the eyeball. I want to slide that one on screen rather than have it sort of appear from nothing. So we'll slide it in from the left here. So I'm going to go over here to about this point, and I want to compare it to this one down below. I want to have it come on slightly after this one starts to come on. So I can take a look at the keyframes here. I can see those two keyframes there. I want to have it kind of come on right toward that guy just as it begins to come on itself. So right there is where it starts, I think. And then after some point, we're going to bring it on so it's done coming on a little bit after this one down here. These guys mark the beginning and the end of that still image, starting from nothing and coming on to that size that it gets on screen, about that size there. This one here, I want it to come on screen and have it finish its job a little bit after this one over here. So I need to transform it. So I do Control or Command T on this one. I need to select it, make sure you got it selected, Control or Command T. And now I'm going to get the little message here. I need to convert this thing to a smart object if I want to do this. So yeah, we convert it to a smart object. And now we're going to transform it. We'll hold on the Shift key and the Alt key here just to kind of center it up a little bit. Just bring it over here, kind of compare it the size a bit to the same one there, just to kind of make sure they're similar. There we go. That's where we want to put it. So that's the ending position. That's where we want it to be when it's done coming on screen. So now I need to accept that. Press the Enter key. That's good. Now we take a look at the keyframes by clicking this little disclosure triangle there. Now I want to turn on keyframes for that spot. That's the ending position. So I turn on the keyframe there, and that adds a keyframe. Now I'm going to go ahead of it here, the beginning of that clip there. Right about there. And this is where I want to slide it off the screen now so that it'll come on from this keyframe to that keyframe once I create a keyframe there. So I go back and do Control or Command T in this guy. Now I'm going to just slide it off screen here. Hold on the Shift key while I can make it slide straight left like that. The Shift key keeps it lined up with the original spot. And I think I just messed it up, so I'm going to press Escape to start that over again. So I'll do Control or Command T again. Now we'll hold on the Shift key and drag it left. There we go. There we are. And now I'm going to accept that by pressing the Enter key on the numeric keypad. And now we've got that. And so let's watch the animation for that one then. There we go. How about that? Pretty cool. We can slide that one off too later on. So I'm going to go over here. There we go. And we'll have that one slide off. This one's already starting to go off right there. You saw that for just a second there. Go forward a little bit farther. There we go. So I had this one slide off right after that one starts to slide off. So I'll take my arrow key and go forward a few more frames here. Okay, and now I'm going to set the keyframe for this guy just by clicking on the diamond down here. That means that it'll hold that position from here to here. I'm going to go over like this to the right, farther in time here. I could choose now to have it go back to the left if I wanted to, or I could have it go down screen this time. So let's have it go down the screen just to be a little different here. Control Command T to select this guy. And I'll just slide it off screen. So I'll hold in the Shift key while I slide it down so we can constrain the direction here. There we go. Press the Enter key over there to accept that. And now we've got that animation. It's going to come on from the left and then go down to the right. I'll show it going down to the right here. Here we go. Off it goes down to the right. There we are. All right, that's working pretty well. And now let's do one more thing here with this last flower thing here. We'll go up to the beginning of it. Need to have this one timed to where she's just about getting off camera there. So I need to turn on visibility for it in just a second. Let me go to the point where she is just getting off camera so we can kind of get that lined up here. There, let's bring it back a little bit. There you go. And we can have this appear right about there. So I'm going to turn on visibility now for it. So I'm going to just trim this back so I can kind of keep that, so I can see the timing for that. Don't have to pull it back that way. I could put the keyframe inside it, but easier to see what's going on here for that. Now I'm going to go in a little bit here like this, to the point where we want it to be on screen. There. Do Control Command T on it. And I'm going to get the same message I got before because we need to convert this to a smart object. Okay. Now we're going to shrink this baby down a little bit by holding the Shift key and Alt key to kind of center it up. There we go. I want to position it right about there. So I can get the size similar to what we have over there. There you go, about the same size, a little bit larger maybe. There we go. I want it to be positioned right about there when it's done coming on screen. So I think that works pretty well. So I need to accept that with the Enter key and the numeric keypad. And that will just be its ending position. So I need to set the keyframe now for that. So I need to open this up now and click on the keyframe animation stopwatch there. Turns it on for that thing. And now we need to set the beginning point for this thing. So I'm going to go back a ways here, right to where it's going to come on screen right about there. And now I want to shrink it down and I want to rotate it. Most video editing products will let you rotate some number of times in some direction, but Photoshop doesn't work that way. It just lets you rotate it up to 180 degrees. If you go beyond that, then it kind of comes on in the direction that you don't necessarily want it to come on. I want it to spin clockwise when it comes on. If I rotate it, let's say counterclockwise, a little bit beyond 180, and when it comes on, it's just going to finish the counterclockwise motion to come back on again that way. It doesn't have the option of giving you multiple rotations, just up to 180 degrees. So I'm going to do Control Command T on it like that. I'm going to rotate it back 180 degrees by holding down the Shift key after I rotate it past 90 here, and it'll snap to 180 there. There you go. I want to shrink it down too, so I'll hold down the Shift and the Alt so that it stays in the same spot here. Bring it down to nothingness. And then accept that. We'll just click on the little check mark there to accept that. Now let's see how that works. I'll pull it on, and there it rotates on. That works out pretty well. It ends up like that. Then we'll rotate it off right about here, I'd say. So we'll just pull this back a little bit like that. I'm going to add a keyframe there that matches the previous one. So I'll just click on the little diamond over there. And then we'll go over here like this, a little bit farther. And we'll rotate it off. Do Control Command T on it again. We'll rotate it back 180 degrees here like so. On the Shift key to get it constrained to 180. And we'll shrink that guy down too. There we go. That'll work right there, I think. It's good enough for our purposes. And press the Enter key, and we're done with that. So, wow, we've got everything set up here. Let's just take a look at this thing and see how it turned out. It'll play back kind of slowly because it's got two HD clips here playing on top of another HD clip. It's got slow motion on all these guys except for the still image. So it's going to work hard to accomplish this task. So it won't be really smooth, but I think you'll get a sense of how this works here. Here we go. There you go, sliding in. We'll fast forward here, go fast forward through this thing. And there we go. Now we'll continue playing it. Here comes that little guy spinning over her shoulder. There we go. All three of them there. Now they'll go off one at a time. Once, twice, 3 times. There you have it. That's how I use keyframes with the transform property to scale, rotate, and move clips here inside the timeline.